Hey guys, hi, it is Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Hope you're having a spectacular day so far, wherever you are, as you drop into today's live video. If you're here live, that is open. That is awesome. If you're watching the recording, that's awesome as well. Listen, I really appreciate you guys being subscribers to the Web Tennis YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And, I want to talk today about mental toughness. And that's really an overblown term, right? Overused term, mental toughness. It can mean a lot of different things, but when you really need to have mental toughness is really that time when you're playing someone that you've never beaten before, right? Whether it's singles or doubles, but it's probably easier if we talk about singles. But if you're up against someone who you've never beaten before, and even if it's been close a few times, or if it's been close a lot, or this person's just that had your number, whatever, the matchup styles just don't work in your favor. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why this other player should have been your long time nemesis. And I had one of those situations recently at the National Hard Courts, actually last month in Irvine, and I got to the semifinals, and I had to play the #1 seed in the semis, a guy who I'd never beaten before. I think we'd played 4 times, a couple times on clay, a couple times on hard courts, and a couple times had gone to 3 sets, but he'd gotten me each time. And this time I decided that rather than thinking that I had to sort of up my level of play, I said, well, what's the opposite that I could do? And the opposite is not literally, let's see if we can play worse. That's not going to get the job done against someone that you've never beaten before. But my thinking is, or my thinking on that day last month was, well, what can I do less of? And on the other hand, what can I do more of using less, if that makes any sense? And so for me on that day, it was simply, look, I'm just going to play every ground stroke right up the middle of the court. Right. So I'm not going to take this guy out to the corners. Right. I'm not going to let him go over there and set up on his forehand from the corner and have big geometry. I'm not going to take it over to the ad side where he's got his backhand and let him set up with bigger geometry than if he's got to play the ball from the true middle of the court. And sure enough, this is the type of player that I had problems with, because he would take charge of the point early before. But this time I did not give him the same geometry that I used to. And what I used to do more of, take him out to the corners, thinking if I stretched him out that would be a problem. And it just obviously never worked out. So on this particular day, I just played every ball right up the middle, and he contributed greatly to letting me win points just by enough unforced errors that it kind of kept me in there. So what's the point of this whole thing today is that, number one, you got to have a game plan, right? You got to try something different, obviously, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, in this case, playing the same opponent you've never beaten before and trying to do the same thing, and obviously expecting a different result. And what we try to do is we try to play at a higher level than what we can actually sustain. Few points here and there, absolutely, sure. But that opponent doesn't care if you hit a unbelievable winner here, an unbelievable winner there. You've got to find a way to come up with a game plan that is something that's different than what you've shown them before, but something that is inside your toolbox that you can realistically pull out and use and be able to sustain it throughout the whole match. Well, for me on that day, it was simply, where am I going to play it? It's not, how am I going to play it? I'm not going to play more top or more slice or this or that. I'm going to play my standard forehand, my standard backhand, but I'm going to continue to trust that if I play it right smack down the middle, obviously not short, giving it some air over the top. And look, on that particular day, it worked. Will it work every time? I don't know, but certainly it worked this time, and that's probably what I'm going to do the next time I have to play him. And it was a 3-setter, but I ended up winning 6-1 in the third. And that was the first time I'd ever beaten this guy. So look, guys, it's possible, right? And I think we get in our way sometimes by number one, we don't have a game plan that's different. Number two is we think, well, I've got to play at a higher level. No, you don't. You just need to show them something different this time than what you've shown them before. And you need to kind of pare away all of the different possibilities. You can't go into your toolbox and just start pulling out everything, hoping that something's going to stick. You got to go in there and you got to find a couple of things that you know that you could repeat and just kind of see if that might be the answer. Well, on this day, it ended up being the answer. First set, obviously, the first set, not obviously, I ended up losing the second set, playing well. But a couple of points really didn't go my way in that second set. He ended up winning the second set. But I stuck to it, right? In that third set, I stuck to this game plan that I had that was slightly different than what I'd done before. And I trusted that if I stayed with it, at least I would have a chance than what I'd done before. And again, didn't try to raise my game, didn't try to play like somebody else up here off the charts. It's just not possible. So guys, listen, a couple of things. Number one, I would love to get your feedback on today's video. If you've got that one player out there who's kind of a longtime nemesis, and maybe you've been playing this guy or this gal, you've been playing them close every time, but you just cannot get the W. For some reason, this player's always got you. And hey, Charles, nice for you to check in with us. Thank you. So I've lost my train of thought there. So yeah, two things is just keep working on a different game plan. And then the second thing would be, look, if you're struggling at all with your top spin serve, right? Usually for a second serve, we're going heavier top to try to eliminate the two things, right? The double faults and that second serve that just goes in there and sits up. We want to make sure that those two things are not happening. So if you're struggling at all with your top spin serve, whether you can't get the feel on the swing path, you can't get the feel of the power so it doesn't sit, here's what I want to do for you. I want to help you by giving you a free course on my top spin second serve. And it's private, but it is free. And the way you can get access to it is just go over to webtennis.com. Drop in your first name and email address, and you'll get immediate access to that course. On that, guys, I remember what the first thing was before I got distracted. I want to read your comments down below. I want to read and respond to your comments or questions, either about today's video or anything else that's going on with your game. Let me know. And again, go check out webtennis.com. On that, guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. And I hope you'll check in because I'm going to do this again tomorrow.